call Windy. She sings from Barbara to Candy. None other than absolutely Mindy. She's a dynamo. I love her show, you know, and how her voice speaks so cutely. Oh, so absolutely. Time for absolutely Mindy. Now here we go. I hope you enjoy the show.
Good morning. It's the Absolutely Mindy Show on Kids Place Live. And have you ever thought about the fact that you have lived with yourself every day since the moment that you were born, and that every day you're probably learning something new about yourself that you didn't already know before? I was thinking this morning, I was talking to my son Rhett, and he was telling me that he has discovered that he likes writing. And that is a new thing for him because he never knew he liked writing before. He never even thought he was very good at writing. And all of a sudden, he's uncovered this thing about himself. At 13 years old, he realizes he likes writing and that he's pretty good at it. And I thought, wow, we are constantly learning new things about ourselves, just like we're learning new things about the people around us. Well, I would like to invite today a very special guest who is going to help you learn more about yourself in the form of making 52 lists. Please welcome all the way from Seattle, Washington, bright and early, I think it's like 6 a.m. there, her time. Please welcome Moorea Seal. Moorea is an author, a speaker, a designer, and a big list maker with over 1 million books, journals, and stationery products in print. Good morning, Moorea. Hi.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for getting up so early to talk with us. So your new journal for kids, which I would say you're the author, but really you're kind of the co-author because the kids who are going to be filling out this journal are doing it with you. The new journal is called My 52 Lists Project, Journaling Inspiration for Kids. So, Moorea, I have what I think is your original 52 list journal. Can you tell us how this whole project first started?
Yeah, I am someone who I have lived quite a wild life, and I have lived so many unique experiences, which means I'm thinking all the time. I have so many thoughts in my mind that are swirling around, and sometimes I just really need to take a moment to sit by myself and get them down on paper so they're out of my head and out of my body, and I'm not anxious and I'm not worried. Putting them into a list makes it so much easier and simpler for me to just find some relief. And I think grown-ups and kids deserve that opportunity to just get some stuff out and put it on paper so you can relax again.
Oh, so you just kind of like you take some of the heavy stuff out of your brain and out of your heart and all of that, and then you just plop it down on paper, and then it's there. It's kind of a record of you and how you're feeling in that moment, but it's also not weighing you down.
Exactly. And what I love about lists is you can take out the hard stuff that's sitting inside of you and put it into a list, and then just look at it and realize it's okay, it's outside of me. It's different than who I am. And then also the fun thing about lists is when you can take all of those exciting and fun things that you have stored up inside of you, the things that bring you joy, the things that you're excited to play with, put those down on paper, and then get to see evidence of who you are and what you love and things that bring you joy. So you always have this resource to go to use tools to bring you happiness.
So you can go back when you're thinking, I'm having a really just crummy day today. You can go back to some of these lists and see things that you have written down in happier times, things that bring you joy, and maybe kind of seek out more of those things.
Exactly.
So, Moorea, when you were a kid, were you a list maker then? Were you a journaler as a kid?
Oh, yeah, I was a journaler. I didn't have TV when I was growing up, so I had a lot of free time on my hands. So I was making, I was building, and I was writing a lot. But something I started to realize with my journaling is it got kind of overwhelming seeing all of these words on a page and seeing all of my feelings on a page. So when I started to put my journaling into a list, it kind of made things more simple and more manageable for me emotionally, to help manage my emotions within when I can see them outside of myself. So it started with regular journaling, which was just kind of a lot of oversharing. And then when I started to use a list, it made things feel a lot more manageable.
And I'm guessing for some kids who maybe don't want to spend a lot of time writing long passages about how they're feeling, sometimes those lists are good for everybody. They're just a quick way of getting out what you're feeling in that moment. So can you tell us some of the things that we will find in the kids edition of My 52 List project?
Yeah, well, first up, what makes it way more special than the grown-ups version is there are stickers, and I illustrated it myself. So you're not only going to make each page your own and fill it with your own stories and your own dreams and goals and things that are special to you, but you also get to draw inside of it. You also get to cover it in stickers and make it your own. Some things that are special about this, too, are the different types of lists that are inside. There's things like list the things that make you happy, list your favorite songs. I think that's really fun to write down your favorite songs right now, because maybe in a year you're going to come back and say, oh, I don't like that song anymore, or that's still my favorite song. Because the best thing about being a human is you get to change your mind, but also it's fun to kind of just write down in the moment what is special to you at exactly the age that you're at.
Oh, yeah. And then, I mean, imagine looking back at let's say you turned 30 years old and you go back and look at your lists back from when you were 7, 8, 9, 10 years old. Do you ever have that experience, Moorea, where you go and look at some of your older journals and realize, wow, I'm a really different person, or wow, I'm exactly the same person as I was then. I've just had more experience.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've always been very sensitive. I've always been very creative. I always have lots and lots of thoughts and feelings. And so it's funny sometimes to look back at the things that I wrote when I was a kid or a teenager, maybe a little embarrassing. But when things are put into a list, it feels a little less embarrassing and more just special. Like a little time capsule that you're creating for your future self.
It's a time capsule you're creating for yourself. You're exactly right. That's exactly what this is. I mean, just thinking about, we were talking about a story earlier today where this 1,200-year-old canoe was found at the bottom of a lake in Minnesota, and it was excavated.
Wow.
And they're going to be studying it to learn about the Native Americans who once used that canoe and who carved it and what their lives were like. And this is something that you will leave maybe someday to future generations, where they learn about what kids were like back in 2021, and what a time you are living in if you are a kid. So you have all other things in here that really get you thinking. List things that make you feel safe and strong. Also list your favorite things to eat and drink, things that you like the most about each season. There's so many great little things that we don't spend a lot of time sitting with. We kind of know these things, but we don't spend a lot of time thinking about, maybe, or a year can go by and we don't pay close enough attention. Or list your favorite memories from this year. Wouldn't you love to go back and to your 8-year-old self and find what your favorite memories were of that year that you were 8 years old? I would. It's really fun.
It's a fun little journey and a fun little time capsule. And I think something also special about this for the grown-ups who are listening is, in addition to this journal for kids, which is just for kids to use, it's not for grown-ups to peek inside of. This is very a special sacred place for kids.
There's no lock on this.
Their thoughts and feelings. But grown-ups also get to engage too if you want to. On my website, 52listproject.com, there's also a digital download for grown-ups to see where kids are at in their journaling journey. There's prompts for grown-ups to ask questions, to engage and connect, because it's special to have those bonding moments. But also, kids deserve privacy in their journal. Because I was a kid who had my mom snoop through my journal, and that was so embarrassing. So it's important that kids feel like this journal is just theirs and a safe space for them to express whatever they want.
Do you have any recommendations for the best place to hide your journal?
Ooh, good
from
question.
grown-ups who might be curious.
Okay, different spots that I've tried. I would tuck it inside of my pillowcase and put it underneath my pillow.
Yeah.
That was a good spot. Or hide it under my mattress. Or maybe under a pile of stuffed animals.
Yeah.
Or maybe hide it in a cupboard behind a bunch of food because no one's going to expect to see it back there.
Oh, these are all good. And it's a good sized book. You could hide it in a lot of places if you really need to. Well, Moorea, I'm so glad that you did this. I'm so glad that you've come out with an edition for kids. Grown-ups, I recommend the adult version for you. And you've got a few different versions. I did this for a year. I learned a ton about myself. It was really, really a fun project. And the reason there's 52 lists is because...
one list a week throughout the entire year.
One list a week through the entire year, and then the next year you can go back and look at these lists and see what you were feeling back on this week last year, and you might see how you've grown or just stayed the same. You never know. So do you have a good list to leave our listeners with right now, our kid listeners, as they go off to school today? If they wanted to start making a list, if they don't have this book yet, what's a good thing that they can start off with today?
I would say I want you to imagine and talk with the grown-ups in your car and the kids in your car. What are the adventures that you want to have in your life? What are the huge, big things and the little things that you're so excited to fill your life with? Because you have so much time ahead of you. You have so many opportunities that are waiting ahead for you. And right now is a beautiful time to just dream and imagine. Do you want to fly across the world in a hot air balloon? Do you want to adventure in the jungle with your best friend? Do you want to write a book? Do you want to write a song? What are all of the different adventures that you want to have in your life by yourself and with people that you love?
I love that. And this is maybe a good one even to talk about as you're making your list with your family riding off to school this morning. Well, yeah. Moorea, thank you so much for coming by this early to talk with us. The new journal is called My 52 Lists Project, Journaling Inspiration for Kids by Moorea Seal. Grown-ups, you can get a version for yourself, the adult version that you can do alongside with your kids. Maybe that's like after dinner every night. Everyone sits around with their journals and makes up their lists, and then you go and hide them in your secret hiding